welcome to the channel. I'm Nico, and welcome back to another Geometry Dash tier list. Today, I'm going to be doing a tier list on all the official Robtop Geometry Dash levels, including levels from the spin-off games like Meltdown, Sub-Zero, and Geometry Dash World, along with the new 2.2 level Dash, and all the platformer levels being the Tower, the Sewers, Cellar, and the Secret Hollow. Speaking of which, this didn't originally have Dash, Tower, or any of the platformer levels, so I had to just take screenshots of them and then just put them in here as files. So if you're wondering why Dash looks a bit cropped off, that's why I had to crop them, because I got those screenshots from videos I did. Also, for people in the last Geometry Dash tier list that I did, said that I should not be allowed to cook again. Well, guess what? Screw you guys, I am going to start cooking again with this tier list, and of course, my opinion is objectively correct. That's right, my opinion is the only correct, is objectively correct over everyone else's opinions. I'm always right, so that tier list is objectively correct, and no one else's opinion is correct. My opinion is all that matters. So with that said, let's get into ranking all of the official Robtop Geometry Dash levels, starting with Stereo Madness, and of course I want to address the tiers. We got God tier, which is pretty much S tier really, the Awesome tier, Great, Decent, Boring, and then Pretty Bad. So decent being, it's okay, it's pretty much like an okay state. Boring means it's not bad, it's just boring. And then Pretty Bad is just actually pretty bad. And I don't know if I wanted to put like terrible or like an actual bad, because I don't really think any of the Geometry Dash levels are actually very bad, so that's why the last one is just pretty bad. So pretty bad to pretty much God tier. So with that said, let's start with Stereo Madness, the iconic first level of the game. And you know what, I'm gonna put it in the Great tier. Stereo Madness is a staple of Geometry Dash. Like, people, it's very well known. It's one of the most iconic Geometry Dash levels to date. There's no there's no misconception for knowing that song, or like, well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. There's its song is just extremely noticeable, and of course, it pretty much does its job as the first level. It shows you to the game, introduces you to the icon and the ship. It is by far the, well, in my opinion, it's not the easiest level, but it's the second easiest level in my opinion. But for as long as many people know, it's known as the easiest level in Geometry Dash, and pretty much sets itself as a staple in Geometry Dash as a pretty great freaking level, especially for starting out the game as a whole. Back on Track, I'm also going to put in the Great tier. I'm actually going to put it above Stereo Madness, because Back on Track's music is great. Love it. The gameplay is even better. I think it's easier though, because Stereo Madness actually has triple spikes, where Back on Track doesn't have any triple spikes, and it's just pretty much easy the entire way through. I generally think Back on Track is easier than Stereo Madness, but again, it's an amazing level. I love it. The gameplay is more fun. It introduces jump pads, and I'm not gonna lie, I love me some Back on Track every now and then. Now we got Polargeist. I'm actually just gonna put this in the decent tier. I don't know why, actually. Like, the music, like, it has good music sync, but that's pretty much it. The gameplay's alright. The music, I just not a fan of the music itself. It feels kind of bland, although it does fit the theme of Polar, like it's polar, like ice, like an ice type song. But I just don't know what it is about me. I just don't like the song. The level doesn't hold up as much as Stereo Madness and Back on Track. It does introduce orbs, but other than that, I'm just going to put it in the decent tier. It's not boring, but I don't think it's great. So I think I'm going to put it in the decent tier. We got Dry Out. Dry Out, I think I'm going to put this one also in the Great tier, but behind Stereo Madness and Back on Track. The thing with Dry Out is it introduces the player to the upside down mechanic, which first time players seeing this think, oh, this completely changed the games. For players like me, there's literally zero difference. Like, I'm so used to things that change your gravity, like the spider, the ball, and all that jazz, that switching gravity is no new news to me. But as a first time player, it's going to throw you off. Dry Out acts as kind of like a first challenging type of level with that. But once you get through the first upside down shot, it's pretty easy, and I think it's also a great level. Base after base is boring. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with this. Base after base is just boring. It's basically an easier Dry Out. The upside down section of base after base is, I think it's easier. And it is kind of just boring. I don't really like the music. The gameplay is too blandish. It's too straightforward, too easy. And not in a way that Stereo Madness is, considering that Stereo Madness is the first level. It's supposed to be easy. Base after base, it's supposed to be kind of like a challenge of what you've learned so far. It doesn't really introduce anything new. It's kind of just boring. It kind of just exists. We got Can't Let... I'm actually going to put Can't Let Go in... Wait, I'm actually going to put Can't Let Go in the awesome tier. Mainly because it's the first, at least in my opinion, 100% the first roadblock people will generally hit when they start playing the game. The first five or so levels, it's like, it gets difficult with upside down, like Dry Out and base at the... Well, not really base at the base, but more like Dry Out. But then Can't Let Go kind of just makes it very difficult. Like, it's a lot of ups and downs, tricky timings, fake orbs, and then, of course, a very intricate and infamous upside down section that even drew my friend Super to madness. And I mean Super Rocker, like... But I think it's an awesome level. The music's cool. The gameplay is challenging, keeps you on your toes. And as a first level to push your limit with what you know, I'd like to say that Can't Let Go is the first actual challenging level that doesn't really introduce anything new. Unlike Base After Base, which is just such a pushover level. With that, we get to Jumper. And again, I'm also going to... I don't know. Should I put Jumper in... My opinion will probably change, but I think I'm going to put it behind... Actually, I'll put it over Polargeist, because it is more challenging, but... I don't know. Jumper is it's definitely easier than Can't Let Go. I don't know if that's because Can't Let Go is so difficult to the point where when you beat it, it makes Jumper feel easy, but... I don't know if that's true. I just generally think Jumper is much easier than Can't Let Go. It does introduce the upside down ship, along with kind of just switching between upside down and upside up a lot more often. But other than that, it's very straightforward, easy ship section, and of course, just one triple spike near the end. But that's pretty much it. It's a decent level, but I don't think it's great. We get Time Machine. I'm tempted to put this in the pretty bad tier because of my history with the song in general. But I will put it over Jumper because it is challenging. It introduces the Mirror Portal, which is one of my favorite game mechanics, which I'm surprised isn't used very often, and I wish it was used a lot more often. But the music itself gives me serious PTSD, mainly because of the map packs. Map pack levels that use that music are horrifying. But the level, Time Machine itself, it's a decent level. I just don't genuinely like the triple spikes. Like, there's way too many triple spikes in Time Machine. Same with Cycles, but Cycles is actually another awesome level that I will actually put over Can't Let Go. Cycles acts as another challenge level. It does have a lot of triple spikes, a lot of close corners, a lot of fake orbs, much like Can't Let Go, but it introduces the ball. And it has a very infinite ship section that constantly changes your gravity. It's very challenging, but the music in this level is amazing. All the way to the drop and all the way to the end of the level. Cycles is just an amazing level. But next we got X-Step, and I'm not going to lie, this is another one of those decent levels. Or I'll actually put it in the great tier, but just above Dry Out. I genuinely think Cycles is more difficult than X-Step, mainly because of its more tricky timings and fake orbs. But other than that, X-Step, I feel like it's supposed to act like a more challenging Cycles, when in reality, it's not. I think Cycles is harder than X-Step. But again, that could just be my opinion. But yeah, X Step is just generally more straightforward, and even Super when he live streamed, Cycles he can get to the ball section, but and then when he gets to the ship section, just keeps dying. With X Step, he's actually made a lot more progress on X Step than Cycles, which just solidifies my opinion as correct that Cycles is definitely more difficult than X Step. But X Step is a pretty fun level nonetheless, which is why it's going in the great instead of the decent tier. Next, we got Color Funk. This is a god tier. This is a god tier level. It's extremely difficult. Introduces the mini, but the music is amazing. The gameplay is challenging but fun, and that last section with the music is amazing. I love Clutterfunk. I love me some Clutterfunk, especially as a challenge level. Although most people, when they first get to this level, are going to realize a huge difficulty spike. And this is when I must mention, of course, it was around when I defeated Xset where the other 10 or so levels before Finger Dash was even released, I kind of just went in a totally different order, mainly because the level, like the difficulty cap after X Step is just so astronomical. A lot of levels are harder than others, and a lot are easier than others. Like the first level I completed from the other 10 levels it was Blast Processing. And then I beat Theory of Everything and then Electro Man Adventures before even beating Clutterfunk. So, yeah. But I still love me some Clutterfunk. So, with that said, Theory of Everything's next. And, again, this is another awesome level. The music's good. It introduces the UFO section. It does have one sus coin that I really dislike. But, other than that, Theory of Everything is another go-to level. Love the music. The UFO gameplay introduces the UFO very well. And then, of course, Electro Man Adventures, I'm actually going to put above Clutterfunk. It's not as difficult, but Electro Man Adventures is extremely fun and probably has one of the best music tracks ever. My little brother absolutely loves the music of Electro Man Adventures. I absolutely love it, and I know very well that the community loves Electro Man Adventures as a song. The gameplay itself is somewhat straightforward, but a lot of fun, and I love it. I love it. Clutterfunk, or Electro Man Adventures, is definitely also god tier. And then we get to our first demon, Club Step. I'm confused on where to place this. One part of me wants to put it in decent, but then another part of me, I'll probably just go in the middle and say it is the first demon. So I guess I'll put it in the great tier for now. My opinion may change on it later, but I don't know. Like, Club Step is the first demon level. It takes everything you've learned beforehand and dials it up to 11. It's the first demon level, and I think it's the second hardest demon in the entire game. And some people even exaggerate and say it's the hardest level in the official levels. I clearly don't see it. Honestly, I see Deadlock as the number one hardest. But Club Step is definitely very hard, especially if you're going in order. Just good luck. Pray to God that you can get past Club Step just to make some more progress, because in my opinion, do all the other levels. Literally every single level before the demons. And actually save Electrodynamics before doing all the demons. Save Electrodynamics for last, right before the demons. And for and speaking of Electrodynamics, I like to say Electro Man Adventures because it has the same start, but it's Electrodynamics. And this is another, it's, honestly, this may just be me being biased, but I personally love Electrodynamics. It's one of my most favorite levels in the entire game. It introduces the speed change, with doubling the speed near the beginning of the level, and then near the end of the level, it introduced the triple speed. It's very fast-paced, extremely fun gameplay to me, and I just love it. The gameplay is extremely fun, but it's extremely challenging. People are also iffy on if this should be even considered a demon or not. And honestly, I would even go as far as saying, by today's standards, it probably would maybe even be an easy demon. But again, I just love the challenge. The music's amazing. Love the fast-paced gameplay. Electrodynamics is definitely one of my most favorite levels in the entire official level lineup. Next, we got Hexagon Force. This is another awesome level. and I think I'm going to put it right above Theory of Everything. Hexagon Force, it introduces the duel, which is also really freaking difficult. Although I still say Electrodynamics is more difficult, Hexagon Force is not that far behind. I would also say save Hexagon Force for one of the last 2 levels before you even touch the demons. Because my order is kind of like, before you even touch the demons, I suggest beating every single level first, and then save Hexagon Force and Electrodynamics right before the demons. So complete every other level except for Hexagon Force and Electrodynamics, and then do Hexagon Force and then Electrodynamics, and then do all the demons. But yeah, Hexagon Force is a lot of fun. It introduces slopes, the duel, asymmetrical duels, which can be difficult at first, but you'll normally find yourself having fun with this level after you get the handle on it. I love the music of it too. It definitely has a more different tone of music compared to every other level. I think it has a very unique song choice, and I like that. And then next we got Blast Processing, which it introduces the wave, which I already said is definitely the best game mode in the game. But the level itself, I'm gonna put it on top of the decent tier. It's a decent level. It's not boring, but it's not great. It's a decent level. Like, I find it to be very, very straightforward and easy. It does introduce the wave, but unlike a lot of other levels that introduce new things like Hexagon Force and Electrodynamics, even Clutterfunk, it's way too hand-holding with introducing you to the wave. Like, you'll find that the wave sections are very open, even introducing a dual wave in the same exact level, although it being extremely straightforward. Blast Processing is just a straightforward level. I love the music, though. Absolutely love the music. I love the last part, the memory part, but other than that, it's just a decent level in my opinion. But next we got Theory of Everything 2. Pop that straight into God tier. I do not need to explain why it's in God tier. It's the second demon you're introduced to, and just the music, the rhythm, the gameplay, all fun, perfect, and just, again, I'm gonna say it too. A Theory of Everything 2 is probably my second or third most favorite level in the entire game, and that's a fact. One of my most favorite levels in the entire game, like probably number 3. Behind 2 levels that we'll get into very shortly. But yeah, everything's just fun. I love a lot of the sections in it too. It really does challenge the player, and a lot of sections are difficult but fun to get a handle on, and it makes you feel powerful getting through it. Like, there's a ball memory section, there's invisible saw blades in a ship section, a really tight wave. It's a lot of fun. In my opinion, there's only one part I do not like, and that's the very tight ship near the end, which kind of acts as a choke point. But other than that, Theory of Everything 2 is near perfect of a level, in my opinion. But next, we got Geometrical Dominator. We're going to slap this in. Actually, I'm going to put this at the top of the awesome tier. Geometrical Dominator is a lot of fun. It's the first 2.0 level of the list, and honestly, I'm not going to lie. Geometrical Dominator, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It introduces the robot in the best possible way. There's new platforming, the fun rainbow platforms and all that. It's just such a colorful level. And who can forget that infamous memory section where everything goes dark and it's just flashing lights in front of you right before showing the platforms. So it's a really cool, really fun level, and the music slaps, especially the drop and the gameplay that goes along with it. The new introduction of the robot, it's a lot of fun. It handles the new robot mode very near perfectly. I love Geometrical Dominator. And as for Deadlocked, this is another demon that I'm going to put in the God tier, and I think I'm going to put it right under Electroman Adventures. Deadlocked is definitely another one of my top favorite levels of all time. Probably my top 5 favorites. In my opinion, it's definitely the hardest level in the game so far. Probably until Explorers releases. But yeah, Deadlocked, just It literally takes everything from all 19 levels you played before it, and it even introduces its own new things, like Geometrical Dominator already introduced moving platforms, but Deadlock just overuses moving platforms, and of course introduces us to the teleporter, and it like the little portal that teleports you somewhere else, and then of course the green orbs, which kind of just swish you. So they act as the blue orb, but instead of just immediately taking you down, they kind of do a swish, kind of like a scoop. And it's a lot of fun. Deadlock has extremely fun gameplay. It has kind of like a mini boss with these piranhas shooting lasers at you. An infamous duel wave near the end, along with following into a memory ship section with a lot of these moving blocks, which is one of my most favorite parts of any of these levels. Deadlock challenges the player in the best possible way with extremely fun and difficult gameplay, along with its music is also amazing. Just everything about Deadlock is also amazing. It's why it's in the God tier, along with some of these other levels. But yeah, and so far with our list, we've been very not accurate, but like every level is or every tier is being filled up except for the Pretty Bad and Boring tier, which definitely says something about Geometry Dash levels. And then, of course, we get to Finger Dash. This is one of the levels. This is God tier. This is one of the levels I'm talking about that I love more than Theory of Everything 2. Theory of Everything 2 is my third favorite. Finger Dash, by far, is my second most favorite Geometry Dash level. It's the first level and only new level of 2.1. Introduces the spider. Has a lot of fun spider gameplay. Introduces a lot of these new effects, objects, fireballs, these new flying piranha dudes, the dash ring, the red orb, the red pad, and then of course the black ring. Finger Dash is just extremely fun, extremely colorful, introduces you to the 2.1 update in the best possible way. The music is also extremely unique. I'm a sucker for Finger Dash. What can you say? What can I say? I'm a simp for Finger Dash. Hold on, just give me a second real quick. I had to drink something. All this talking's making me parched. But yeah, and now we're going to take a break from the official levels of the regular game and actually going to go into, I think this is Geometry Dash Meltdown. We're going to go into the 3 Geometry Dash Meltdown levels, which is interesting. Considering that we've already been through all of this, this is going to be interesting to place these. 7 Seas. I think I'm actually going to put this right next to Stereo Madness, but I think I'm going to put it higher just because it has better effects, and of course, it's a part of the Geometry Dash side game or whatever you want to call it, spin-off, Geometry Dash Meltdown. It's a spin-off of a 2.0 Geometry Dash game. Like trying to feature some 2.0 related things with its objects and all that before 2.0 released for the regular game. So it's kind of unfair to put it over Stereo Madness, considering Stereo Madness is the first level in the game. But I'm putting it right next to it because it's the first level of Geometry Dash Meltdown. And again, introduces you to Geometry Dash Meltdown fine, like perfectly fine, just like Stereo Madness does. 7 Seas also introduces some 2.0 aspects perfectly with it, introducing some moving platforms, the new objects, very colorful stuff, and very colorful gameplay. And the music, I love it. The music fits so well with the level and the name of the level itself, the 7 Seas. And in my opinion, when I look at the 7 Seas, I see Stereo Madness, but 2.0, but like a 2.0 remake of Stereo Madness that I think is just a little better in my opinion. Next, we got Viking Arena, and I mean, it's more interesting than Base After Base, but I'm putting Viking Arena in boring. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward. It's just straightforward. It's way too straightforward. It's not that difficult, and I don't know. There's just something about it that I'm bored of. Like I could play Viking Arena. It's just kind of boring. Unlike the Seven Seas, which, again, it's the first level. It's not trying to be all chaotic or any of that. Now, Viking Arena, of course, by all means, isn't supposed to be all flashy and all that, considering it's only the second level. But again, Geometry Dash Meltdown only has 3 levels, and I don't know what it is. It's just, I don't like Viking Arena. I don't know why. But I like the Seven Seas. It has a charm to it. Anyways, Airborne Robots. This one also has a charm with it. I think I'm gonna put it at. I'm probably gonna. I may put it actually right here on great. Or I may. Oh, this one's tricky actually. I may put Airborne. I'm gonna put Airborne Robots right below Blast Processing. It's the last level of Geometry Dash Meltdown, but it's a pretty good level nonetheless for being the end of Geometry Dash Meltdown, introducing a more futuristic theme compared to the Seven Seas and Viking Arena with even more new objects, and of course more moving objects, introducing more 2.0 stuff before the 2.0 update even came around. And of course, it actually gives you the ball in that level, which is a lot of fun. And of course, I was going to say something. I completely forgot what I was going to say, though, other than that it just gives you the ball. And yeah, it's somewhat challenging compared to the other 2 levels. And I don't think I would expect like him to just add a ball in a Geometry Dash spin-off that just has 3 levels. But I commend them for adding another game mode in such a short game, a small spin-off. So good for you. And it definitely gives Airborne Robots its own feel, futuristic feel. And it's definitely different from the other 2 levels, and I can appreciate that. But all in all, I think Seven Seas is the best level in Meltdown. So with that said, we're actually going to go into... Next is Geometry Dash... Oh boy, next is Geometry Dash World. What's this level called? I can barely see it. Is that front load? It says front. I think that says front load. And front load is... It's boring. Most of these are very short levels that are, again, they're short levels, so you can't really expect much from them in general, but I just can't help it. They're just pretty boring. But Beast Mode is definitely more fun than Front Load. The music I definitely enjoy a lot more, but China is actually pretty bad. I do not like Machina at all. Years is a pretty good level too. I actually put it above these 2. Ooh, Frontlines. I'm actually going to put Frontlines in front of Poltergeist. Frontlines is, I think, in my opinion, it's somewhat of an iconic level of Geometry Dash World. I love the gameplay of it, of course, showing more upside down stuff, a bit more difficult than the other 4 levels that you just played. The black red theme is really cool, along with the music flows really well with each other. And then the music choice for it, I don't know what it is about that music, but I feel like it's well loved, and I genuinely like it. I definitely hear the music of Frontlines in some levels myself nowadays, and it's even the music choice of a level in the Lava Gauntlet, I believe. So yeah, and it's called Frontlines Full, so yeah, good for Frontlines. Frontlines is actually a pretty good level. It's decent. It's a pretty decent level. Next, we got Space Pirates, and it's pretty boring. It's not as boring as that level though, but it's just the UFO the entire way. Actually, I think I'll put it above this one too. I think I like Years more than it. I can barely read that. I don't know which level comes after Space Pirates, so I think I'm just gonna put this in pretty bad. So don't quote me. I'm just gonna put that in pretty bad. Ambers, I know what Ambers is. I think I'm gonna put it right here above everything else so far, other than Frontlines, of course. Ambers is just a pure ball level, and I like that. Round 1. The music choice of Round 1 is very infamous to me. And for this level specifically, I'm actually going to put it above Time Machine and Jumper in front of Frontlines. Round 1's music is great. I love the level design. And even though it's short-lived, I did play a full version of that level, which I posted a video of, and actually, you know what? I'll actually just show you guys what I mean. So if I go to my popular videos here, you'll see that when I did the round 1 full version, it is to this day the second most viewed video on my channel. Me doing round 1, a full version of round 1. I will always hold round 1 close to my heart. Like, honestly, round 1. I love the music choice. I played the full version and made a video on it. It's to this day my second most viewed video on my channel. W's in the comments below for that. I'm actually gonna put it on the top. Actually, I'll put it on the very bottom of the grade tier just because of that. I know this is not the same as the full version, but if this level didn't exist, I would have never played the full version of it. And then we got Monster Dance Off, which it's not boring. I'm going to put it at the very bottom of the decent tier. It's not like the other short levels, of course. The only three Geometry World levels that speak to me a bit is Frontlines, Monster Dance Off, and Round 1. But yeah, and that's all the Geometry World levels. Only 2 of them were actually pretty bad. Next, we got the challenge. It's got a lot of problems with it, but apparently it is also a Robtop level. But there are a lot of things wrong with it, and it's pretty bad. It's a one and done. Unlike a lot of, I mean, you could do the same for Meltdown levels and or most definitely the Geometry World levels, but at least all the other levels have coins in them and achievements for completing their practice modes, which actually, they actually give you more things for replaying the levels and trying to get all the things and trying to 100% these levels. But it's just a short level. It's broken. You can do many different things in the level that you're probably not supposed to. And again, it's just a one and done. I will put it on the top of the pretty bad tier mainly because the level itself, I feel like, is a meme in the Geometry Dash community. At least in my opinion, it kind of acts like a meme. Anyways, on to Geometry Dash Sub-Zero levels. All these are bangers. They are part of a 2.2 spin-off game, introducing some 2.2 related gimmicks for the upcoming 2.2 update, which came out last December. And these came out like, a very long time ago. But yeah, first we got Press Start. It's going on the top of the great tier. Or I'm actually gonna put it right next to these two. Like, it's another level that's the first level of the game. So there's Stereo Madness, 7 Seas, and then Press Start. And I feel like they get better and better as the spin-offs go on. And Press Start is no exception. Or is another exception of that. Like, Press Start introduces a varied of fun 2.2 stuff, like zooming the screen out, giving us already a lot of the gimmicks or game modes that we've seen over the years, like the robot. It's not shy. Robtop this time around was not shy to just give us game modes like the robot in the first level. And then it's just like, yeah, Press Start's a lot of fun. It has its own boss fight. And then it even has this little Mario platformer thing when you're in this box where you just jump, make your way up, and then exit, get into a second square, make your way up, and then exit before entering a final boss fight where the boss starts shooting lasers at you. It's a lot of fun and it has a lot of personality in it. I love Press Start. Next, we got Knock 'em. That's an awesome level. Knock 'em is an amazing level. Absolutely love the music. One of my most favorite music choices in all of Geometry Dash. The level itself is fun, has great music sync. I love the whole spider part when it just keeps turning you around. And then after the spider part, you turn around again, make your way up into the victory. It's a lot of fun. Knock 'em is definitely my favorite level of Geometry Dash Sub-Zero. Next, we got Power Trip, which this one is I'm actually going to put in decent. It is somewhat fun, but again, it's not. It's kind of challenging. Yes, there's a mini icon part 2 when you got to really time your jumps. It has a pretty ridiculous coin too in it. And I'm not going to lie, it's a pretty empty level, and especially after playing a level like Knock'em, Power Trip kind of just falls pretty flat. Like, Press Start had a lot of personality. Knock'em was just a lot of fun and just a lot of fun with an amazing music choice. Power Trip kind of just exists. So, but it's not boring, but it kind of lacks something, if you know what I mean. So, it's kind of going into decent tier. Next, finally we got the levels that I kind of just had to screenshot, crop, and then add them in here via files. So next we have the first 2.2 level, Dash. Remember when I said Theory of Everything 2 was my second most favorite level, and then third favorite level, and then Finger Dash was my number one favorite level? Welp, Dash is by far my Dash is definitely my number one favorite level, God tier. I feel like it's just the perfect 2.2 level to come out of the 2.2 update. The spider part is definitely somewhat sus. Like, the spider part at the beginning may not need to exist, but other than that, the rest of the level is perfectly fine. A lot of fun gameplay. Introduces a lot of the 2.2 gimmicks, although not completely suffocating the player with them. Introduces the new swing copter gameplay, and both swing sections are fairly easy. The second one being slightly more tight, but fun. It gives the player a lot of time to get a lay of how the swing works. And the swing sections in it are just fun and straightforward. Dash, I feel, is just a perfect 2.2 level. Not to mention, it has a lot of personality, especially near the end of the level, with the build up of you going around the screen before a drop, and then of course an infamous Robtop spikes going up and down with the ship. And then, of course, a really cool robot with fans blowing you around. And then finally, a race to the top of a tower-like platforms, which once you get to the top, a fan blows you to the top, and bing, bam, boom, you're done. Amazing level, lots of personality, and I don't know any more perfect way to introduce Genesis 2.2 with this 2.2 level. Like, it's perfect. It's near perfect. Like, the only part I say is somewhat sus is the first spider part. But other than that, as far as 2.2 levels go, even though this is the only one, I think this is the perfect way to start introduce people to the 2.2 update. Next, finally, we got the platformer levels. Tower. It does just introduce the platformer mode. I will put it in the top of decent tier. It's just decent. It's fairly straightforward. Introduces you to the platformer. It's not great, but it's not boring. It's fairly straightforward. Introduces you, of course, to the platformer, how it works and all that. And, of course, you can kind of work out how the coins for the levels are going to work out in the future as well. With it, of course, being collect all the coins, collect 3 blue coins, and then pretty much a speed run through the level. And it does a pretty good job at introducing the player to what platformer modes are like. Sewers are when things get pretty great. I think I may put sewers. I'm gonna put the sewers at the top of the, or I may put it right above Club Step. Or I'll put it right below Club Step. It's still a great level, right above X Step. The sewers definitely steps things up with a pretty difficulty curve with, of course, the elevator ride to the top, which, in my opinion, kind of like a sub-boss in a way, where the first part is not that hard. It's pretty difficult with some tricky platforming as you go up, but then you get to the elevator ride, which leads to a mini boss with lots of spikes coming from the bottom, and then spikes coming from the side, with also flames coming from the sides. And honestly, that's the only reason why I put this in the great tier. It is difficult, and if you're new to platformer, this could be very difficult and may frustrate you. But I still think it's an extremely cool little section. And then, of course, I'll never forget. Well, actually, that's in the next level, the cellar, which I think I'm going to put it in the bottom of the great tier. Mainly because it does seem bland compared to the other tier levels so far. But I think it's better than the tower mainly because, one, Rattle Dash is in it, even though I have no idea who the heck that is. But my favorite part of this level, it has a lot of personality with you blowing up Rattle Dash, which will never not make me laugh. Just his scream followed by the blast is so funny. And not to mention, this is the first time we get a change of gameplay with the robot, which I think is the perfect game mode for platformer mode. So it also has that going on for it. And then we got the Secret Hollow, which I'm actually going to put this at the top of the awesome tier. The Secret Hollow is a lot of fun. It gives us the ball as well now as platformer. And then, of course, it has a lot of new things too in it. Like, it starts out with the robot. You got to go up these, up a slide with these spike balls coming down. You got to avoid some fireballs going down this cool little piano tile platform. And then, of course, it has its own personality, too, with some of the creatures in it. A Pac-Man section, which is really cool. And then ends up with a boss, which, by the way, is a badass way to end the first room of the tower. Definitely deserves the awesome tier. And with that, that's going to conclude my tier ranking. Let me know what you guys think of this tier ranking, and let me know which levels are your favorites and which levels you dislike. And yeah, with that said, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you guys never miss a video. And like the last tier list video I did, I am allowed to cook. I cooked. I believe I once again cooked in this tier list. So with that said, I'll see you guys in the next video stream and our post. Later, Gators!